Okay, this is Audrey Sutton and Grace Wright, and we're going to talk to you about migration. So some reasons for migration includes job opportunities. So if you have the chance to get a better job, but it's in a different spot or place, you would travel to that new place so you can get a job. And then push and pull factors, and some push factors are what push people away from their current country, and that includes like political unrest, they lost a job. And then pull factors pull people to new places, and that could include political stability, they got a new job, there's more room to grow. And then unrest is like political unrest. That means like there's a civil war going on and their country is just not right for them anymore. And then cultural factors, that includes like their religion, so they might want to move somewhere where their religion is accepted, not Indiana. And environmental factors means if they live in a desert, they might want to go somewhere where there's water. And if they live in a place like Florida where there's a lot of hurricanes, they might move to somewhere where there's not a lot of hurricanes. Some characteristics of migrants, it includes large families mostly. Long distance. If people travel long distance, it's usually males that travel long distance, and they're adults. People migrate to MDCs. It's more developed countries, especially from LDCs. They move to MDCs. They go there for political stability because they want a strong government who can help them. And they might have escaped from a place where there's civil war and the government doesn't really help them, so they might move there. They mostly migrate from Southeast Asia, the Middle East, South America, and Europe, and they tend to migrate towards the United States and Australia. So some immigration policies that are in effect today, or the U.S. quota law, and that it's the law that puts a max limit of people that can migrate into the country. And then if they're there for work, they must get work visas, and those are only temporary, so they can't stay here. And then they have a hard time differentiating between economic migrants, which are there for new jobs, so they would get visas, and then people who are refugees who flee from another country because of war and then come here because they seek safety. And then another type of migration, we've been discussing external, but another source of migration is internal. And that's when people move from, let's say, from New York to Texas, and they still live in the United States, but they just move states. And that's an example of changing centers of population. So if like a few years in the future, if New York doesn't populate as much, like didn't have as many people, and all of a sudden Wyoming gets a lot of people, then people will start moving to Wyoming because there's more jobs. Settlement of coast. Most of the early explorers, they settled on the coast because that's where like their boat stopped, so they were like, hey, let's just live here. And so now people, because of new technology, they're moving more towards the middle, like the Midwest, like Indiana, Minnesota, Wyoming. And then economic reasons, there's better job opportunities in some places. And then cultural, if the place they're at doesn't support like their religion or their beliefs, then they would move to somewhere that does believe what they believe and accept their culture.
And that's migration.